everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Arcus and today we'll be drawing a mermaid. So if you're on Instagram or any social media and follow any artists, you might be noticing that a lot of artists in the month of May draw a lot of mermaids, and that's because May is something, there's a challenge of the month for May, and it's called Mermay, and it's where you draw a mermaid every single day, and there's a prompt list, and it's like this whole thing, and people really enjoy doing it. Now, when it comes to me personally, mermaids aren't exactly like my favorite mythical creature. I don't think of them very often. They just kind of exist and are there, so I don't participate in Mermay because I don't feel like drawing a mermaid every single day. But what happens is because I follow so many artists on social media and I see all their like cool flowy mermaids, I'm like, damn, I want to draw a mermaid too. So I'll usually draw like at least one mermaid in the month of May. I just won't do it every day because I'm just not as inspired by mermaids to do that. So of course, since it's May, here's my one mermaid. And I didn't really know what theme I wanted to go with. I tend to draw really like stereotypical mermaids, you know, long hair, really pretty girls, like flowing, or like they have like flowy poses, I guess, in water. I don't usually go outside of like that's kind of my comfort zone. But this time around, I was looking at the prompt list for Mermay for 2019, and for May 17th, which is today, the prompt for Mermay was dinosaur, and I was like, wow, that's a really interesting prompt. I'm actually really intrigued. So I wanted to see what I could do using this prompt, and to make a mermaid that is inspired by dinosaurs. Now, the dinosaur that I based her off of is called the Elasmosaurus. I think I'm saying that right. It's not one of those like sea like crocodiles or whatever that have a lot of like are really scary. It's just like one of the biggest ones, but I really like the shape of his body and the shape of his fins, so I wanted to include that and make her tail kind of have that 4 limbs that are just like flippers, although she also has hands and arms, so technically 6 limbs. I wasn't sure, since this was like in a dinosauric era. I don't know what era the Elasmosaurus is from. I don't know how human-like I wanted to make her, because they are more like reptile-like, and humans did not exist during that time. I don't know, but since it is mermaids, I did keep the human arms and the human body. I tried to change up her face a little more to have more reptilian eyes. They're like really big, and they have slanted pupils, and then she also has she's kind of like snarling at something, and she has these fangs, sharp teeth. And honestly, I think that's my least favorite part of this illustration, because everything looks great until I look at her face, and then it's just, fangs are cool, and I like having characters with like sharp teeth that are like kind of terrifying in that case, but I just don't think I did them very well on her, because they just kind of take up part of her face and they're not distinct enough so that you can tell that they're fangs if you look far enough away, so it just looks like this giant block on her face that kind of takes away from it. But otherwise, the rest of the drawing, I'm actually pretty into it. I wanted to have a little bit of a scene, so she's like coming out of the water next to onto some plants, onto land where there's a lot of like plants from like a lot of ferns and stuff, because during the time of dinosaurs it was really warm on Earth, so the jungles were very tropical and had a lot of like leafy ferns and stuff that covered the ground. And since I knew the background was going to be super green, when I was choosing her color scheme, since I wanted her to stand out, I decided to go with orange and purple as her main colors, even though that was not the color of the Elasmosaurus of past. And then one last thing about her design choices specifically is that her hair is made of feathers, because more recently scientists have found or stated that dinosaurs were actually covered in feathers and not in scales as they originally thought. So, you know, like Jurassic Park, like that whole thing is not actually correct. So, although the ones underwater are, like I said, reptiles, they're not actually like dinosaurs, so they don't have feathers, obviously, since they're underwater. I wanted to kind of draw inspiration from the fact that dinosaurs did have feathers, so I made her hair purple feathers. So a couple more things I just want to say. Sorry about the lighting in this video. If you cannot tell, I'm in a new location now, like the desk is a little different, and the afternoon sun comes through the window, and I wasn't noticing that that was happening, so sometimes there's just like harsh sunlight in the video, and I like didn't pull the curtain because I was enjoying the sunlight, and I didn't realize that how it looked. So sorry about that, one thing. And then another thing, I'm really pleased with this drawing, not just because of like, it looks pretty cool the way it turned out. I'm still like, the background's kind of meh because I have a lot of saturated green, so they kind of stand out more than the actual character does, although the orange of her skin really does help. But I'm really pleased with this because I've been struggling with my art a little lately, with my digital art. So I got an iPad, which you have seen in previous videos, and that means I can do a lot more digital art, like on the go. It's a lot easier and it's really great and simple to use, except for the fact that I have no idea how I want my digital art to look. So when I get to the point where I start putting colors down in my digital art, I just get blocked. I don't know what to do, what direction I want to head in. Is it more painterly? Do I want more cartoony? I don't know. And that's really frustrating, and it makes me not want to do digital art, well, right now. Like, I need to work through it, I need to find some brushes that I really like, but it's just kind of frustrating in the moment because I have a great sketch and then I don't know what to do with it, and it sucks. So going back and doing a bit of traditional art where I kind of just have one style where I shade with my Copics or whatever, and I think it turned out really, really great. So it's kind of just refreshing to be like, look, like you just need to work through the coloring on digital art, but that doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing in other mediums, and that like you're just terrible at everything you do, you know? That's kind of not a great feeling, so I'm glad it's not the case. So then this was a really, really nice drawing to do, and I like that it's like a little scene, and then I added some water with watercolor, and that like really helped bring it together, and this was just a nice feel-good drawing, even though it was a little bit outside of my comfort zone with some of the things that I was drawing. So don't be afraid to experiment, I guess, is the moral of the story, because you might find that you like what you're doing and it reaffirms your belief in yourself as an artist. And then, so for the final touches, I use my Sakura white jelly roll gel pen, and then my Uniball Signo gel pen, and added some highlights in the water, in the rocks underneath the water, a little bit on her skin, because I'm assuming she has a very like slick, maybe like thicker skin because it needs to go fast underwater. Just like little things, little highlights that kind of help pull it all together, you know, the final details that make the drawing pop in the end. So overall, it was a good time. I enjoyed this. I'm probably not going to draw any more mermaids. Maybe like one or two more. I don't know if it's completely out of my system, but I don't know. This is a cool prompt. So if you're doing Mermay, I hope you're enjoying it and experimenting with your art and finding things that you like. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye.